Mr. Squidward, welcome to the night shift.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the night shift on the MI6 Sports Network. My name is Lauro Antonio. I hope everybody is doing great on this fine Thursday night. And happy Thursday to all of you, wherever you may be. And also, this is the final day of September as we now move into October, beginning tomorrow. So, anyways, folks, I hope everybody's doing great. So, before we get started here, you could follow us on your favorite social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch, and subscribe to our podcast channel today, especially on YouTube. You could give us a like and subscribe on our YouTube page as well. And then also check out the MI6 Sports website by checking out our articles and blogs on there as well. So, let's start with our first topic of the day. We're going to go to the NFL segment as the Jacksonville Jaguars played the Cincinnati Bengals on Thursday Night Football, and the Jaguars just can't find a way to snap their losing streak right now. They played hard today, but the Bengals improved to an impressive 3-1 record, which was a surprise by so many people. A lot of the people thought that the Bengals would start off slow, but the Bengals have been playing good football right now. But we're going to see if they're going to be for real. They had a statement win against the Steelers last week, but my thoughts on this game was that Andy Dalton played. Excuse me. Sorry, I said Andy Dalton. I meant Joe Burrow. I beg your pardon. Played a good football game today. CJ Uzomah scored a couple of touchdowns. Trevor Lawrence had some moments in the game today, scoring a rushing touchdown, and then James Robinson also scored a rushing touchdown as well. But also the Jaguars have suffered a big blow to their offense, and that is DJ Chark, who suffered a fractured ankle, and he is going to be out for an indefinite period of time. I'll tell you what, folks, this is such a huge blow to the Jacksonville offense because if you look at it here, Chark, Laviska Shenault, and Marvin Jones, they're supposed to be the 1-2-3 punch of that receiving core for the Jaguars. But losing Chark on the outside, that hurts because you lose your best downfield receiver to injury, especially an ankle injury. And I think this is a big blow to the Jacksonville Jaguars for sure. But you're going to rely more on Marvin Jones running those deep routes. Laviska Shenault is very versatile. You could count on him catching from the slot and also running deep routes too. So I do have faith in Laviska Shenault and Marvin Jones to get this done too. But with the Jaguars, with them losing and starting the season 0-4, I feel like that this team is just going through growing pains, and this team can be good, but they just need the right pieces on the defensive side of the football. So I wanted to get to that here and talk about that. So anyways, folks, let's talk about next my thoughts on the Jaguars trading C.J. Henderson to the Carolina Panthers for Dan Arnold. The Panthers, they needed an upgrade at corner because they lost J.C. Horn pretty much the whole season. And C.J. Henderson brings toughness. He can cover receivers. And I think that was a good pickup for the Carolina Panthers and for Dan Arnold. I think he has an opportunity to be another weapon at tight end for Trevor Lawrence too. So you basically could use him as a catching tight end or a blocking tight end because tight ends are definitely used differently there. So anyway, I just thought that I don't know who won this trade, but I just feel like that I just felt like that I just felt like that the Panthers needed an upgraded corner. I think Jacksonville wanted to upgrade offensively for Trevor Lawrence, and they go from there. So now, folks, let's talk about this next topic here. Is that LaShawn McCoy is retiring, and he is going to retire as a member of the Philadelphia Eagles. And I believe, yes, he is a Hall of Famer. I think he kept the change moving, and LaShawn McCoy is that Slim Shady. He was like, when I was in high school and middle school, he was like the top, one of the best running backs in the NFL. And I just felt like that this was one of the best players that Andy Reid coached. And he did, however, win a Super Bowl ring with Andy Reid in Kansas City when LaShawn McCoy wanted to join his former head coach in Philadelphia in Kansas City. So anyways, let's talk about some Week 4 games that I'm looking forward to the most. So anyways, I'm more looking forward to Tom Brady's return to Gillette Stadium. And because as a Patriots fan myself, I think that he's going to get a loud standing ovation here. And I also think that the fans at Gillette Stadium will get to celebrate him and his accomplishments with the Patriots, and that a lot of fans should be grateful that he has given them 6 Super Bowl titles. And he also has 7, as you all know, because he won a Super Bowl in his first year with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Who would have thought that it would have happened here? So also another game to look forward to that I'm excited about is when my hometown LA Chargers take on the Las Vegas Raiders. And I say that because, first of all, the Chargers are playing well right now, and they had a statement win over the Kansas City Chiefs. And for the Raiders, they're the real deal. If their defense can play well and sustain that level of play, then I do think that the Raiders can be a contender in the AFC West with Kansas City and the LA Chargers. But Denver right now, I consider them as a pretender because they're going to be losing some hard games coming up. They're going to be losing to really, really good teams on their schedule. So anyways, aside from the Raiders and Chargers and also the Patriots and Buccaneers, I'm also excited to watch when the LA Rams take on the Arizona Cardinals. And I really think that the Rams will go 4-0 because I think Matthew Stafford's playing well right now. He looks comfortable in the offense. He and Sean McVay are on the same page. And I think for the Cardinals, Kyler Murray's playing well. That offense fits him well with under Cliff Kingsbury, and the Cardinals' defense is known to choke down the stretch. But I just feel like that with the start they have, and when they have a guy like J.J. Watt, I think this is a Cardinals team that really, really needs it right now. Especially like they want to end this long playoff drought that they have. They haven't been to the playoffs since 2015, and I know that the Arizona Cardinals are a playoff team. So, anyways, another matchup to look forward to is when the Packers take on the Steelers. Will we see a close ball game or will we see a blowout? Because I think that if the Packers get Zadarius Smith back, then I do think that the Packers can really get to Ben Roethlisberger, just because I just think that Ben Roethlisberger is just old and washed up. And I really think that Ben Roethlisberger is just an old quarterback, and I think the Steelers are definitely ready to rebuild next season. So that's kind of like my thoughts on that as well. So anyways, folks, now on to baseball. So the Braves, however, sweep the Philadelphia Phillies to clinch the NL East title. So anyways, while I'm on here, I have something to play for you, Isaiah, if you're watching. So you predicted that the Phillies would win the NL East. You called that before the season began. And just like that, the Atlanta Braves won the division and all that. So anyways, we have a song to play for you, Isaiah. So if you're listening, this is for you.
Isaiah loses again. Isaiah loses again. 10 games of losing. Isaiah loses again. Skull, 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 skull. Skull, 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 skull. Still keep on losing. Isaiah loses again. Isaiah loses again. Isaiah loses again. 10 games of losing. Isaiah loses again. He's worse than Stephen Wayne. He's worse than Stephen Wayne. Skills keep on losing. Skull, 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 skull.
That's what you get for all those outrageous predictions on the Phillies and any team that you want to win, because I know that you just love going bold. So I respect that. But at the same time, a lot of people are just ripping on you just because of that. So just wanted to play that for you. So anyways, the Braves, however, sweep the Phillies to clinch the NL East title. So it's not a shocker to me, because I think the Braves are the better team in the NL East. But for the Phillies, they need a lot of pitching help. And they need to spend a lot of money for that in the offseason. And I think that Dave Dombrowski should spend money to help improve on the Phillies pitching staff, just because in the playoffs in these days, pitching wins championships, and the Phillies don't have enough. Like, Kyle Gibson's good, but he's not great. Aaron Nola can be hit and miss. Zach Wheeler can be hit and miss. But for the Braves, I think that Max Fried, and then if you have a healthy Mike Soroka, the Braves have a potent offense that can score up runs. And being without Ronald Acuna Jr. is rough for the Braves. But I just think that the Braves, however, they can really make noise in the playoffs. So, anyways, folks, now let's talk about the Dodgers. So the Dodgers just swept the San Diego Padres. Corey Knebel getting the victory here in this somewhat bullpen game. And then the losing pitcher is Vince Velasquez with a 3-9 record and no save here. So anyways, before I get to that, my thoughts on the so I talked about my thoughts on the Braves winning the NL East. I said that is not a surprise. The Braves have so many good hitters, and also the Braves, they have a good rotation, but the question is about the bullpen. Now on to the Dodgers. So the Dodgers, however, swept the Padres in 3 games of this series. I called a memorable game yesterday on the ColorCast app when the Dodgers had a come-from-behind win when they were down 9-5 to the Padres, and they just came from behind with a victory. But we also have a comment that just came in before I go on and on and on with the Dodgers here. John Hammond has a comment for us here. So, John, welcome to the show. And he said the Giants won on a walk-off. I'm like, I don't care about the Giants right now, just because the Dodgers just want to take care of business and still find a ways to win the NL West here. So the Dodgers remain 2 games back. And anyways, didn't even think that Isaiah Leong would be joining us, because he started a new show on the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. But I thought that he would join on time and all that. But anyways, Isaiah, welcome aboard.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, man. I started a new show with my guy, Adam Barber, which you can catch on the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network every Thursday nights after Thursday Night Football at like 9 p.m. Pacific time until 10 p.m. So it's a show called Kicking It with Isaiah and Ace. We're just basically talking about sports and just other, fun topics. So it's a really fun show. So make sure you guys check that out. So, but then I finished the show and I was like, you know what? I'm still got nothing here to do. So might as well just jump on with you and talk some sports and talk some Thursday Night Football and talk some baseball.
Yeah, we were just talking about, I was just finishing up my thoughts on the Thursday Night Football game and all that. And also, I just played you that Isaiah loses again thing when the Braves beat the Phillies in 3 games.
Yeah, man, it was not a fun series. It was, for me as a Phillies fan, it was a terrible series, and I got a lot of stuff to say about that game.
We'll get to that in a minute. So, what's your thoughts on the Thursday night game?
I thought it was a great game. I thought that Urban Meyer and the Jaguars offensive coaching staff finally unleashed Trevor Lawrence. I thought that for the first three games of the season, I thought the reason why Trevor Lawrence was struggling was because of two reasons. Number one, I thought that Trevor Lawrence was doing too much to try to prove why he was the number one pick. I feel like he was, pressing a little bit, trying to, just throw the ball all the way down the field. And instead of just taking what the defense gives you and playing to the flow of the game, and he was just trying way too hard. And it's like kind of like jitters before or during a big performance. You're going to struggle in the beginning because you want to show everybody, yeah, this is why I'm the best. This is why, I was number one. And I feel like he was doing too much. And I feel like the second thing was that Urban Meyer and the Jaguars offensive coaching staff didn't really let him do a lot of what he does best, and that is run the zone read. He's deadly with his legs. You saw tonight, he is just phenomenal running the football with his legs as well as passing the football and also throwing on the run. And they didn't really let him do too much of that in the first 3 games of the season. They just made him be a pocket passer. That's not really what he is. So I'm glad that Urban Meyer and the coaching staff finally came to their senses. They let him run the football with his legs. They let him get out of the pocket, scramble, and throw on the run, which he was fantastic with. That ball that he threw to Laviska Shenault, that 50-yard bomb where he's throwing on the run. That was one of the best passes that I've seen in my life watching the NFL. It was a great ball that he threw. And also, they ran the football with James Robinson more. A lot of people have been clamoring for that, and they finally did it. And they had a balanced attack today instead of always just passing the football. And I think that's really what stood out to me in this game was that I think Trevor Lawrence, despite them losing, I thought he played the best game of his young career. And I think it's, a good building block moving forward for the Jacksonville Jaguars organization. I think if they can do some more of that, if they can let Trevor Lawrence just run the ball with the zone reads and the read options and all that stuff, and also have him, throw on the run, because Laurel, that Jaguars offensive line is trash. If they can just do that, I think they'll be successful offensively. But however, defensively, they're atrocious, man. Like, I watched that game. They could not stop the Bengals on offense in the second half. I don't know what happened. I know the first half they were doing a great job stopping Joe Burrow in the Bengals offense. They were getting pressure. But in the second half, they got no pressure whatsoever. They couldn't stop the run. Wide receivers were wide open left and right. It was just a complete mess. And like I told Adam Barber on our new show, I think that the Jaguars, what they should have done, they had like $100 million in cap space. They should have used some of that money and signed Shaq Barrett, who was one of the best pass rushers out on the market. I think they should have given him a big fat contract, got him to Jacksonville, because he would have been a difference maker on that defensive line. They just don't have anybody right now outside of Josh Allen, and he can't really do that much if he doesn't have another great pass rusher next to him on the opposite end. So that pass rush is atrocious. The defense is atrocious. They probably would give up 40 points to New Mexico State right now. That's how bad they are. If they don't improve that defense, I don't care if you have Trevor Lawrence. I don't care if you have Marvin Jones, Laviska Shenault, and James Robinson. You're not going to win any games with how pathetic that defense played.
Yes, that defense was not like the 2017 version of Saxonville. So the Jaguars wide receiver DJ Chark suffered a fractured ankle, and he's out for an indefinite period of time. And I talked about it before you were on air. This was a huge blow to the Jacksonville offense. And now you're going to have to rely on Laviska Shenault and Marvin Jones to catch the ball, move the ball downfield, but you need 3 good receivers out there. So losing DJ Chark was definitely a big, big blow to the Jacksonville offense. What's your thoughts on the Jaguars losing DJ Chark?
This is a huge blow for them. It's a really big blow. Like you said, you need 3 great receivers to win in the NFL. You have Marvin Jones, who's the veteran wide receiver. He's really good at what he does, and that is being a possession wide receiver. You have Laviska Shenault, who's really fast. I liken him to Torrey Smith. He's a guy that can go deep, take the defender deep, and lose the defender. And then you have DJ Chark, who can just go over the middle as well. And I thought, Trevor Lawrence, he had a really good relationship with DJ Chark. He had a really good connection with DJ Chark, and now he's out for the year, and that's a big blow to their passing game, which already was not that good. Besides tonight, they weren't really that good. And it's just a huge blow for them. And I feel bad for Trevor Lawrence. He lost another weapon, and I hope DJ Chark has a really speedy recovery because, he's a big part of that Jaguars offense.
He is. And also losing Travis Etienne, the Trevor Lawrence's teammate from Clemson for the year, that's also a big blow for them as well. And I think but losing DJ Chark, come on. He is the big part of that Jaguar offense. So the Jaguars finally did what they wanted for CJ Henderson. He is now a Carolina Panther, and I think he bolsters their secondary. But for Dan Arnold, who the Jaguars got in return, he kind of gives Trevor Lawrence another weapon to throw to. What was your thoughts on that trade?
I don't like it, Loro. I really don't, because the Jaguars' defense was already atrocious. We saw that tonight. They couldn't defend the pass. And I think CJ Henderson, if he was there tonight, he would have helped them shore up a lot of the mess that was going on in that secondary. None of the Jaguars corners could defend the pass. I know Tyson Campbell, Urban Meyer said the reason why they traded him was because Tyson Campbell's development, he has really developed under the Jaguars defensive coaching staff. But, CJ Henderson would have helped them. He's a guy that has experience. He's a guy that, he's really good at defending wide receivers, and I think he would have been good defending Jamar Chase or Tyler Boyd and stopping some of those big plays that happened in this game. Like, I know Jaguars, Urban Meyer's been saying all off season, we need a better tight end room. Yeah, you need better tight end room, but you also need a much better defense, and you need a much better cornerback room, because right now your cornerbacks, besides Tyson Campbell, who played a really good game tonight, they're just awful, and they shouldn't be out there in the National Football League. And if you can't stop the opposing team from scoring, I don't care who you have on offense. You're just not going to be able to win any games in the NFL if you don't improve that defense. I mean, just look at the Niners. The Niners, great defense, not that good of an offense. They went to the Super Bowl in 2019. So I'm not a big fan of just, getting all the offensive weapons in the world. I think you have to build a defense, make sure that defense is strong enough, because defenses can carry you. Offenses, they can carry you, but you're not going to win games because you can put up a lot of points, but the defense could give up more points than you score. So I really don't like this move for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
It just tells you that the Jaguars are a dysfunctional organization. So anyways, LaShawn McCoy, the shady McCoy, I talked about my thoughts about him retiring. He's a future Hall of Famer to me, and I think he'll always be an Eagle. But he did win a ring with Andy Reid in his pretty much almost the second to last year playing in the league. So what's your thoughts on LaShawn McCoy's retirement? Do you believe he's a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, he is. I don't know if he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but he will eventually get into the NFL or in the Hall of Fame, just what he did with the Philadelphia Eagles. This man was a monster with the Eagles. He was a 2-time All-Pro. He was a 6-time Pro Bowler. He won actually 2 championships, in 2019 with the Kansas City Chiefs, and then in, I believe, 2020, last year, with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Even though he didn't really do that much, but still, he won 2 rings, and he ran for over 3,898 yards, or not. He ran for 11,102 yards. My apologies. 73 rushing touchdowns, caught a lot of balls for 3,898 yards. He was just a monster with what he did in Philadelphia, and I think he's going to get in because of what he did in Philly.
Yes, he's going to come in as an Eagle, and I really think so as well. So I talked about some Week 4 games coming up, so I'm going to start with the Week 4 game that I'm looking forward to the most, and that is Patriots and Buccaneers. Tom Brady's return to Gillette Stadium. There's already a lot of media members at Gillette Stadium, like NBC Nightly News is there, the Today Show is there, NFL Game Day Morning will be there. And can you give me your thoughts on what to expect in that game on Sunday?
I expect Tom Brady to play angry. I told Trevor and John this yesterday on No BS. I would not be shocked if Tom Brady puts a 40 on the New England Patriots. He wants revenge on Bill Belichick. You know, Bill Belichick wanted to get rid of him so badly for Jimmy Garoppolo, and he wanted to push him out the door. And Tom Brady stopped that and eventually got out of New England. So I think he wants to prove Bill Belichick wrong. And I think that I really believe that Tom Brady's going to have a massive game in this ball game, and he's going to, because he knows all the ins and outs of what Bill Belichick likes to do on defense. So he's going to carve up that Patriots defense.
And why do you think that what will happen? Why do you think that this could be a game that, like, that probably is going to be like one of these games that Tampa Bay comes into Foxborough and blows my team out?
Well, it's because when you never want to see Tom Brady angry. Tom Brady's a really intense guy as is. When he's angry, he's just playing at another level. And also like Laurel, when you know the ins and outs of a defense, of the opposing defense, you know how to pick it apart. And Tom Brady's, been practicing against that defense for 19 years of his career, 20 years of his career. He knows what Bill Belichick is going to throw at him. He knows the blitzes that Bill Belichick is going to throw at him. He knows the coverages that Bill Belichick is going to throw at him. I would not be shocked if he just picks apart that Patriots defense, because he spent 20 years going up against that defense in practice. So he's got a lot of knowledge and experience on how to beat that defense.
He definitely wants that for sure, but also, what reception do you expect Tom Brady to receive when he enters the field, or when they do the video tribute, and when the Bucs take the field on offense?
If anybody bulls Tom Brady for leaving, they should have their tickets just taken away, because this man was one of the best players in your franchise history, and he did everything for your franchise. He won 6 Super Bowl championships with your franchise for 20 freaking years. So if you boo him, you should be ashamed of yourself. I think that he's going to get a loud roar from the crowd. I think he's going to get a standing ovation from the crowd. And I'm for it, because this man put in 20 years of hard work, and he gave you 6 Lombardi trophies to add to that Patriots trophy case.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, and also Gronk is coming back to New England. So how do you think that he'll also get some ovations too?
Yeah, I think he will, because he was also a big part of the Patriots dynasty, catching passes over the middle from Tom Brady, catching a lot of touchdowns. So I definitely think that he will get a big ovation as well.
I think the night will be all about Tom Brady for the New England Patriots and its fans. And I agree with you, Isaiah. If however fans boo Brady, it might be because of the Bill Belichick situation and what they said about it. But you said that they should get their tickets taken away. But why did you say that their tickets should be taken away if they boo him?
Because why would you boo him for leaving when he gave you 20 years and 6 Super Bowl championships? It's like this, Loro. It's like if Kobe Bryant ever left the Lakers, right? Let's say he left the Lakers because management didn't want to give him a new contract because he was too old, and he left the Lakers and signed with the Charlotte Hornets, or signed with the Cleveland Cavaliers or whatever, and he came back to LA. I don't think anybody at the Staples Center would be booing Kobe Bryant just because, he won you 5 championships. So it's the same with Tom Brady. He won you 6 championships. There's so many teams out there in the NFL that hasn't even won 1 championships in their franchise history, and he won 6 championships for you in 20 years.
He did. So, anyways, Isaiah, what games are you looking forward to in week 4? I bet you that you want to talk about the Niners and Seahawks. You'll be working that game, but will I be able to see you after you come home from work for the extra point that night?
Well, we'll see. We'll see how tired I am. I don't know, because I get really tired during work. But yeah, the Niners and Seahawks game I'm looking forward to, because I absolutely hate Seattle. Whenever the Niners and Seahawks play, I really hope the Niners blow the brakes off the Seattle Seahawks. So it's going to be a great game for sure. The other games I'm looking forward to is, the Patriots versus the Buccaneers. Tom Brady going back to New England to face Bill Belichick. I've been looking forward to this game since the schedule was released. Other games, I would say the Cardinals and the Rams, 3-0 teams going at it. The Cardinals high flying passing attack, the Rams high flying passing attack. They're going to be going at it. I'm definitely looking forward to that game. I think that's going to be a fun shootout. And then, I would say the Ravens and the Broncos, because the Ravens have a great rushing attack. The Broncos have a great run defense. Something's got to give in that game.
Yes, you're absolutely right. I mean, I think the Ravens are going to win this game, but Denver might – I said the Denver Broncos are going to be pretenders just because I think that they might slip a little bit because they're not a team that you're not used to seeing on the top. But I feel like that Teddy Bridgewater, I think he's living up to his expectations to being a franchise quarterback for that team, and I could see that very well happen not only this year. He could – might as well keep his starting job for next season as well.
Well, I mean, if you have a chance to get Aaron Rodgers, I would totally do that. But I don't know about the Broncos. I picked the Broncos to make the playoffs as a wild card. And when you look at the Broncos schedule, I said they have to start 3-0 or 2-1, or else Vic Fangio will be fired, because this is the easy part of their schedule right now. The first 3 games going up against the Giants, the Jets, and the Jaguars. Now comes the hard part. You have the Ravens, the Steelers, and then after that you have the Raiders, the Browns, and then Washington Football and Dallas Cowboys. That's going to be 6 rough games for the Broncos. And then they've got, after that they got the Eagles, the Chargers, the Chiefs, the Lions, the Bengals, the Raiders, and then the Chargers and the Chiefs again to finish the season. But this is where we're going to see if Denver is a pretender or for real. If how they do in these next 6 games against the Ravens, the Steelers, the Raiders, the Browns, Washington, and then the Dallas Cowboys. We'll know after November 7th if the Denver Broncos are for real or not.
It's really too early to say about that. So, anyways, we'll talk more about that on Wild Sports Talk tomorrow. So, I was just talking about the MLB segment. So the Braves sweep the Phillies to clinch the NL East title. So I just played the Isaiah loses again thing before you went on air. So what is your thoughts? What's your biggest takeaways on this game? Like I talked about this before you were on air. The Phillies heading into this upcoming offseason, they need to get more pitchers. Their lineup is fine to me. It looks great on paper with the lineup that they have, but they need a lot of pitching.
This was a very disappointing series for me and the Phillies and also the rest of the Phillies fans out there, because, we hyped this up. Like, this was our biggest series of the last 8 to 10 years in Phillies history, because the Phillies have been nothing for like the last 8 to 10 years, and they haven't really had meaningful baseball deep into September. And this series, the Phillies were rolling going into this series. The offense was rolling. They were putting up 6 to 8 runs per game in the last 8 games. And then they were throwing out their 3 best pitchers, Wheeler, Nola, and Gibson, against the Braves. 3 best pitchers, and whoever won this series, this was for all the marbles in the NL East, was going to win the National League East. If the Braves won it, the Braves would win it. If the Phillies won the series, the Phillies would win the NL East. And Philadelphia just didn't show up. Their offense, I don't know what happened, Laurel. I was telling Ace this, what happened, what killed them was not during the series. It was before the series. You were playing the Pittsburgh Pirates on Sunday. You had taken the first 3 games and you had just completely steamrolled the Pirates, and you were facing a guy that had a 7.54 ERA going into that game, and he comes in and throws 7 shutout innings against you. I don't know how that could happen. The Phillies ended up losing that game, and then they lost the game. The Braves won, and ended up being 2.5 games. If you win that game, you're a game and a half back with 3 games against the Braves to play. That's much easier than being 2.5 games, and you have to sweep the Braves in order to take the division lead. So I thought the Phillies, they just looked dead out here from game 1. I thought that game 1 really was the killer point of the series for the Phils. They were so close. They were down 2-0. Wheeler gave up the 2 runs in the 4th inning, but other than that, he was terrific. And then they gave up the 2 runs, and then the offense, they woke up in the 9th inning. Rosario drops that foul or the fly ball in left field, and then you have runners at 3rd and 2nd, and Didi Gregorius comes just so close, so close to hitting a grand slam in the 9th inning. And I think if he does hit that grand slam, it would have changed the whole series for the Philadelphia Phillies. But he doesn't hit the grand slam, ends up being a sacrifice fly. Phillies get a run out of it. But then it's kind of like, and then Will Smith with bases loaded, and I believe Freddie Elvis had like a 2-ball and 2-strike count. He swings and misses at a 92-mile-an-hour fastball, and that's all she rolled. So I think Game 1 really killed the Phillies because they knew that after Game 1, they kind of just didn't have a chance to win it. Because if you're not going to win a start by your best pitcher, Zach Wheeler, how are you going to take the next 2 against the Braves, 2 best pitchers? So it was just not a good series for the Phillies. They have a lot of stuff they have to address this offseason. And I agree with you, Loro. I think they need to get, better pieces in the bullpen. Ian Kennedy is not a closer. I don't care what anybody says. He's not a closer. He's like Brandon Workman. He's giving you heart attacks every 9th inning. He's like loading the bases with 1 out and have to get out of the jams. He's like the Kansas City Chiefs defense. He's like a bend, don't break type of a closer. But eventually, if you bend so far, you're going to break. And that's what Ian Kennedy is. He cannot be the closer going forward into 2022. And I think also what the Phillies need to do is they need to upgrade that shortstop position because Didi Gregorius had a terrible year. He's only got like 1 year left on his contract. He's dealing with a bad elbow. And, I think the Phillies should go out and try to get one of these top shortstops on the market, like a Carlos Correa, like a Carlos Correa, Corey Seager, maybe.
Marcus Semien, maybe.
Marcus Semien, yeah. I think any of those guys, they're better than Didi Gregorius. Even if Didi Gregorius was healthy, I would still take one of those top shortstops on the market over Didi Gregorius because you don't know what you're going to do at 3rd. You definitely cannot have Freddie Galvis be your primary third baseman. It's either going to be Alec Bohm or you got to get someone in free agency, maybe a Chris Bryant. But the Phillies need to fill up the hose in that infield, get an upgrade either at 3rd base or shortstop, and get definitely another starting pitcher and just an entire bullpen, honestly.
Yes, because right now in the NL East, all the teams that are eliminated from playoff contention are the Phillies, the Mets, the Marlins, and the Nationals. But the Marlins and Nationals both had very bad seasons. The Mets, however, it was all on DeGrom and Noah Syndergaard to be healthy, and that's what really determined the Mets' title hopes. But DeGrom being out for the year, it is not a good sign for the Mets. He's got to be healthy heading into next season, and if he is healthy by next season, then I could see the Mets contending.
Yeah, but I think they need a new manager. I think like Luis Rojas, he's got no experience whatsoever. He was making some really weird decisions out there. So I don't think they should bring him back. I think the Mets are going to get a new front office, and that new front office will want to bring in whoever they want to be their next manager. And if I'm the Mets, first call I make is to Oakland to try to get Billy Beane, because I think it will be it will help both parties. Since the Mets, they get Billy Beane gets to work with a much, much bigger payroll. And Laurel, you see what he does with the Athletics. Imagine what Billy Beane can do with $100+ million payroll at his side. And I just think, the A's, it's been 20 years with Billy Beane. You're going the same path, and you're never advancing in the postseason. So I think they need a new voice in Oakland. I really do. I think they need a new voice, and I think that a fresh voice would help these guys instead of having Bob Melvin and Billy Beane running it back again.
Yeah, I mean the A's have have taken a huge step back since last year with winning the division, and also for the Mets. My choice, if they fire Luis Rojas, if you would agree with me on this, I like Buck Showalter for that job. He brings wealth of experience And even though that he's had some success taking teams to the postseason, he's not won it. He's not won the big prize of winning the World Series. But just having him as the manager for the Mets would really help with the players and all that because he has a wealth of experience.
You know, I think he would be great, but if I'm the Mets and you hire Billy Beane, I'm pretty sure Billy Beane would want to bring Bob Melvin as his manager because they've worked together for 10 years. And I think Bob Melvin would definitely follow Billy Beane. So it really depends on who they hire in the front office. Because if they hire Theo Epstein, he's probably going to want to bring someone else in. I don't know if you will bring in Buck Showalter, but it definitely depends on who they bring in their front office.
Yeah, I definitely want to see Buck Showalter be a manager in the big leagues again. I like him in the studio, but I want to see him in a dugout again. Don't you?
Yeah, for sure. I think he would be great as a manager. And if I'm the Yankees and they fire Boone after, if they lose in the wild card, the Yankees, I think, would be a great spot for him.
Yes, absolutely. A veteran voice that's needed since Joe Torre departed and since Joe Girardi departed. A guy that knows it all and that could bring you world championships. So
Yep.
Buck Showalter would be a good fit for the Yankees if the Yankees fire Aaron Boone.
Yeah, I agree. Completely agree.
So now let's talk about the Dodgers. So the Dodgers swept the San Diego Padres. So let's start with the Dodgers here. They're 103-56, and John Hammond just said something here that the Giants won by a walk-off. The Dodgers are still 2 games back of the San Francisco Giants, and heading into the last weekend of the regular season, the Dodgers and Giants are still going toe-to-toe, and the Padres play the Giants, and the Dodgers play the Brewers. So what needs to happen if the Dodgers are going to win this division? Do you think that there's still a chance for the Dodgers?
It's looking slim because the Giants are 2 games up with 3 games to play. The Dodgers basically need the Giants to lose 2 out of 3 to San Diego, and they need to win 2 out of 3 to tie it, and that will go to game 163. But I don't know, Laurel. They're playing the San Diego Padres, who have just collapsed the last 3 months of the season, and now Jace Tingler, I think, will definitely be fired after this because you can't, collapse like how they did and not and keep everybody in that coaching staff and that front office. Someone's definitely going to be gone for the Padres. That I think it's going to be Jace Tingler because managers are always the scapegoats of the team. So I think he's going to be gone. And I don't know because I just don't see the Giants losing 2 out of 3 to the Padres, who right now they're just a mess. They're obviously tanking right now.
Yeah, the Padres started out really hot. They were like the team that was going to challenge the Dodgers for the NL West crown. I was kind of thinking that when they got Yu Darvish, Blake Snell, and all the pitching that they got, Mark Melancon, a good offense with Tatis Jr., Machado, and Hosmer, and then they collapse. That is just unacceptable, Isaiah. You know that the Padres have talent, but if they do fire Jace Tingler, they need to hire a manager that has experience.
Yeah, I agree with you. On that. I think that Bruce Bochy is the guy that I think would be a great fit. He's out there right now. There's rumors that he might be coming back to San Diego. Who knows? But if he wants to come back to San Diego, the Padres just need to fire Jace Tingler and get Bruce Bochy whatever the hell he wants.
Yes, Bruce Bochy had success up in the Bay Area, winning world championships, but I feel like that San Diego is always his home.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think definitely if Bochy wants to come back, the Padres need to bring him back. There's no if, no, or anything.
He would be good for Manny Machado. He would be good with Tatis Jr. He would be good with Hosmer or whoever is on that roster because they've been there before, and he would relate to both young players and veteran players.
Yeah, I agree with you. He would be a slam dunk of a hire.
Yeah, and then for the Dodgers, so if the playoffs were today, they would be playing the St. Louis Cardinals. And if that were to happen, do you think the Dodgers can beat the Cardinals in that 1-game wild card playoff?
They should beat the Cardinals, but I don't know because baseball is a funny game since, it's always a team that's red hot that comes in and it's a one game winner take all playoffs game. So I'm leaning towards the Dodgers, but I would not be shocked if the Cardinals win.
Yeah, because that's been the Dodgers' nemesis in the playoffs before. But now they have guys that have played against the Cardinals before and that know the Cardinals schemes, like Albert Pujols. I think that's kind of like the Dodgers have that advantage if they were to play the Cardinals in that one-game playoff on Wednesday.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
So, anyways, folks, so the Dodgers take on the Brewers tomorrow. You got Clayton Kershaw tomorrow. You got Julio Urias on Saturday, and then Sunday you got Walker Buehler. So, do you think the Dodgers might sweep the Brewers, or do you think it's going to be 2 out of 3 for the Dodgers?
I think it's going to be 2 out of 3 because I think the Brewers are a really tough team. They're one of the best teams in baseball this season, and I think the Brewers, they still got some stuff to play for, so it's not like they're going to be resting everybody. So I think if the Dodgers win the series, I don't think it's going to be a sweep, but I think it's going to be 2 out of 3.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyways, now let's talk about, before we talk about some boxing here, so for basketball, so the NBA is back, however, on Sunday for the Lakers. So anyways, the Lakers will take on the Brooklyn Nets Sunday for their first preseason game. Everybody's going to wonder, are we going to see guys like Kyrie, KD, and James Harden go up against Russell Westbrook and LeBron and AD come Sunday?
I doubt it. I highly doubt it because it's the first game of the preseason. They're probably not going to even play that much in preseason after the long seasons that they had last season and also the bubble. So I don't think they will. I don't think we'll see LeBron, AD, Russ. I don't think we'll see even Melo out there on the court. But I think it'll be good to see, some of the other guys like Kent Bazemore, like Kendrick Nunn, Austin Reeves, not Callan McClure. I almost said Callan McClure. Mac McClung. That's his name. I think that's his name. But it would be nice to see a lot of these young, unproven players that the Lakers have, and also some of the veterans that are in there for bench depth.
Yes, absolutely. But also, we're going to have a special Wild Sports Talk show so that we can predict our conference standings and awards, right?
Yes, we'll have it, but not. We'll have it closer to the NBA season.
Yes, because the NBA season starts in a few weeks, so I have my predictions already set for that. So, anyways, so when it comes to the Lakers here, what do you expect from them? Do you think that they could be the number 1 seed in the Western Conference?
I'm not sure because, I know the Lakers will probably be load managing a lot since, a lot of those guys are up in age. The Lakers don't care about the regular season. It's all about the postseason for them. And as long as you get to the postseason, then it's when the real games start. So I don't think the Lakers will care about getting the number 1 seed. I think they'll care about getting the number 2 seed, the 3 seed, or even the 4 seed. Just get home court advantage. And then we'll see what happens. Get the chemistry to mesh, and then then you'll be good for the postseason.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, if the Lakers don't get the number 1 seed, then I would not be surprised there. So that's what I was trying to say here. So what other teams are you looking forward to when this upcoming NBA season? Do you think Denver will challenge the Lakers for that top spot in the West, or will Phoenix, like your boy Devin Booker, he has unfinished business?
Yeah, I think the Suns could, but I also could see the Suns taking a step back because the Suns last year, they went through a lot of teams, but a lot of these teams were hurt. So imagine if AD was healthy. Imagine if Kawhi was healthy. What would have happened? We don't know. So I don't know if the Suns are now not a surprise anymore. People actually have to take the Suns for real. They're now going to be one of the hunted teams in the NBA, and it's different, when you're the hunter instead of the hunted. So We'll see. I think the Suns could take a step back. A team that I'm definitely looking forward to, low road to seeing, and I think that a lot of people should also watch out for them. It's the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I think that I'm not saying they're going to like win the East or anything like that, but I think they could definitely make the playoffs. Maybe like as one of the bottom teams in the Eastern Conference playoff. They got a young core. You guys know how much I like Colin Sexton. I think that guy's an absolute stud. I think him and Garland can get along really well in the backcourt. They added Laurie Markkinen, who's going to help them a lot. They have Mobley, the center out of USC. I think he's going to help them a lot. They have Jared Allen. They have a really good young core. And Sexton, if he can take another step in his development, which I think he will, because last year he just blossomed last year. I think the Cavs could make the playoffs. I really do. I think they can definitely make the playoffs in the East or be in that play-in tournament as one of the final seeds in the Eastern Conference.
You also forgot about the Bulls. The Bulls have the roster to be a top 6 team or a play-in seed. So what is your thoughts on the Bulls here?
I think the Bulls can definitely be a top 5 team in the NBA. They got the roster. I think Lonzo Ball will finally break out this season. I think DeMar DeRozan was a great addition. Zach LaVine is going to show everybody why he's so special. And also, like, they have just a lot of depth. And I like Billy Donovan. I think he's a really, really good coach. He's a really good defensive coach. And I think the Bulls will definitely make the playoffs. And I expect them, if they're not a number 4, number 5, at least in the East, low roll, because I don't think they'll be a top 3 team. If they're not number 4, number 5, or even 6, I think it's going to be a major disappointment for the Bulls because you have the talent.
I think the Bulls could surprise a lot of people in the East. So, anyways, now let's talk about some boxing. So, legendary boxer Manny Pacquiao announced his retirement from boxing after a long and illustrious career. I mean, this was a tough decision. Since he's from my home country in the Philippines, I watched him box big matchups, and I'll remember him beating Floyd Mayweather or beating Timothy Bradley. So basically, it's an end of an era of one of the greatest boxers of all time, next to Muhammad Ali, to be honest with you.
One of the greatest eras in boxing we've seen in the last, decade or in the last like 30 years. Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, Sugar Shane Mosley. They were all phenomenal. Now they're all like gone, and now we have to enjoy other guys like Tank Davis and all these other guys. But I grew up with the Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather era, and it just sucks to see that they're retired now. But Manny Pacquiao, just a great, great career. I wish that he would have fought Mayweather one more time and Floyd would have given him a rematch, because I thought that, it's not fair if you're fighting a guy that has a torn rotator cuff. It's not fair at all. So I really wish that Floyd would have given him a rematch, but hey, it is what it is. And it just, it sucks that he's not boxing anymore, because I know he's running for president, but I feel great. I feel happy for him because he had a great career, but I really wish that Floyd Mayweather would have given him a rematch, because I think he would have definitely beat Floyd Mayweather in that rematch.
Absolutely. But now let's talk about some college football here. That's going to be our last topic of the night. So Alabama's taking on Ole Miss on Saturday. I'm looking forward to watching that game. And they have a quarterback that I heard about that is a Heisman Trophy candidate, but I love Bryce Young too, out of the University of Alabama. So what is your thoughts heading into that game?
It's going to be a high-scoring game. Like we said with Brady and New England, Lane Kiffin knows all the ins and outs of Nick Saban's defense. Nick Saban knows all the ins and outs of Lane Kiffin's offense because they work together. So you're going to see a high-powered shootout like we did last year. Last year was like 63-55 or something. It was insane what it was. And I think we're going to see the same thing. I think we're going to see, one team scores, and the next team scores, and then the team scores again, and then the next team scores again. It's going to be just back and forth. And that's one of the games I'm definitely circling on my calendar to watch on Saturday night.
Yeah, it's going to be a 12 o'clock game our time when I checked. So it's going to be about the quarterback position. Bryce Young versus Matt Corral. So what's your thoughts about those two? You think both of those two are Heisman Trophy candidates?
I do, and both of the defenses they're going against Bryce Young going up against Ole Miss and Matt Corral going up against Alabama. Their defenses they don't look good. I mean, we saw what Emory Jones did to Alabama's defense. He just shredded them. Ole Miss never really has a defense, and I just think that we're going to see a shootout. I would not be shocked, Loro, if it's like 63-56 or something like that. Something just crazy in terms of scoring.
It's going to be a crazy game. But now let's talk about the team that you want to win the national championship. They're 4-0 along with the Arkansas Razorbacks. So what's your thoughts on Georgia playing Arkansas?
Believe it or not, Loro, I would not be shocked if Georgia loses. This is an upset brewing. This is an upset waiting to happen because Arkansas just came off a big win against Texas A&M. They are a really good team. They're really good at stopping the run, and they're really good at getting to the quarterback on defense. And Barry Odom, their defensive coordinator, throws a lot of weird coverages and blitzes at the quarterbacks, and these young quarterbacks just can't figure it out. And JT Daniels, I know he has another injury. I don't know what's going on with him this year. He's been injured so many times, but they need JT Daniels to be healthy, and he needs to play well if Georgia were to win against Arkansas, because Arkansas is going to take away the run. They're going to force JT Daniels to throw the football, and he's got to be able to beat them with his arm. And for Georgia's defense, if Georgia's defense could take away the run, I think that would be good, because Arkansas's quarterback, the reason why they've been so successful on offense is because they ran the football really well. And
yeah, so Isaiah left here. So we were just talking about USC and Georgia and Arkansas here. So give me Georgia to win this game, but also want to talk about USC going up against Colorado. Give me USC in this game because the Colorado Buffaloes are not a good team. But let's see if Keaton Slovis can get the job done. So anyways, Isaiah left. So thank you, Isaiah, for hopping on and for just a minute here. But the last game I want to talk about is Arizona State going up against 20th ranked UCLA. I'll tell you what, folks, UCLA is back. And I think Chip Kelly knows how to recruit now. And I think that the UCLA Bruins are in a good place right now. Folks, it has been a fantastic show. And it is time now for some final thoughts. Folks, it's been a great show. So Isaiah, shouting you out. So he just told me that his internet crashed. So thank you for tuning in for the last couple minutes of the show. So my final thoughts is I'm looking forward to tomorrow's Wild Sports Talk episode as we will be talking about more about Week 4, Brady's return, and more baseball playoff races coming up, and along with some college football games coming up this weekend as well. And with that being said here, for producer Stephen Wang and for Isaiah Leung and the entire MI6 Sports Network team, Lauro signing off for now. Thank you for watching The Night Shift. We'll see you again next Saturday, next Thursday night after Thursday Night Football between the Rams and the Seahawks. And then we'll be also talking about the MLB playoffs as well. Tune in to Wild Sports Talk tomorrow at 6:10 Pacific time. Have a great night, everybody.